Hi, I'm Andrew Stevenson, and in today's video we are going to create a activity book, or a couple of activities, word searches in particular, that you can add to children's activity books. We're going to be doing it in the free version of Canva. This is a continuation of the Canva series, if you can call it that. We've already made line journals and handwriting practice book. I'm going to continue working in 6x9. Obviously you make it whatever size you want, and remember to include bleed. You can Google the bleed sizes, and this will show up. Basically it's 0.125 round each external edge. So for the height of a page you will add 0.250, and for the width you add 0.125. So for my 6x9, you can see in this corner I'm going to be using 6.125 by 9.25. And this is the blank document. The first thing I'm going to do is, as with previous times, is to set up the margin, just so I know where I can add text and where I can't. And to do that in Canva, I use a square. And again, you can find out the margin sizes. And if you check here, for pages, for under 150 pages, which is what your activity book will be, the outside margins need to be at least 0.375, factoring in the bleed, and the inside margin, the gutter, is the same. So we'll make a box. It has to be 0.4 of an inch, because Canva only works in a single decimal point. So 0.4, so it's slightly bigger than what we need, that's fine. And we're going to, with it selected, Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste, and just drag it around the external parameter of the page. So there we have it. Now I know that this is the internal area of the page that all my text is going to go into, and this is where the it's potentially would be cut off during the printing process. So this is just a guide. We are going to delete this later on, and we're going to extend our images to the page edge. Because this is going to be a kid's book, we're going to be using colour. So bear that in mind when choosing your elements and things like that. And also when you're factoring in your cost and the price you want to charge, colour is slightly more expensive. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up the actual word search itself. So for that we use the table tool. And again, this is all free in the free version of Canva. And I want it roughly, let's say, 6x6. So there are a few ways to add rows and columns. You can use the 3 ellipses there and add columns, or you can click that plus there as it appears. So that's the basic 6x6 grid. You can change the size by pulling this up and then equally spacing out your rows and your columns and things like that, but I'm happy with it the way it is, because I'm going to add a lot of images around it just to make it a bit fun. Another thing I'm going to do is, if you select the first square, hold down shift, select the last square, and then you can edit your bits and bobs here. So I'm going to change each of these squares represents a certain aspect of the table. So that's all borders, that's the external borders, that's just internal borders, that's top, That's all horizontal, internal horizontal, internal vertical, blah blah blah. Select the bits you want to change. I want to change them all, and I'm going to change this weight to 1 just to make the lines less dense and less obvious. You can also change the colour of the border if you want to. I'll keep mine black. I also want to change the colour, and I'm going to change mine to white for the time being. That way, if I kept it as it was, as you add elements, behind it, so there's that there, and I'll send it at the back. The colours affect, the colours show through, maybe making your word search less clear. I don't want that. So by selecting all of the cells and turning it to white, no, that doesn't happen so much. And then we need to work out what sort of word search you're going to do. Now, you should already have an idea, because it should all be linked into your themes. This one, let's just pretend I'm going to do one for food. We'll say food. So pizza, use the arrow keys to change the cell that you're typing in. So pizza, cake, I'm having bother thinking about foods. Pie, pie's a food. Fruit. And that'll do. We'll just have 4. You add as many as you need. If you need to, add more columns and more rows. But this is just an example. So that's going to be the puzzle as it is. We're going to fill these blank spaces in with letters, obviously to make it a bit harder. It's a fairly easy puzzle. But if you're going to do a solutions page, in kids' books it's not so hard because, let's be honest, you can find them easily. But for a more complex word search, if you're going to do, say, a 20 by 20 grid with 20 words, you don't want to have to create the puzzle, then go around and solve it to find the answers. So one option is to select the table and then Control-C, Control-V, add a new page for your solutions, and then just drag that down. And that can be puzzle 1 of your solution page. Shrink it down to whatever size you want. And that is a puzzle solution. Add a bit of text. Just say puzzle 1 or whatever your title is. Drag it underneath, and then for your solution section, you could have maybe 6 word searches on a page. Like that. The other option is to fill all these squares in. I'll do it quickly. So that's it filled in. The other option, because this is the small one, we can't take the time to solve it, is again to select the table, Control-C, Control-V to copy and paste. Drag it onto your solutions page. And then just highlight each individual letter from the puzzle and change the colour of the word that you're trying to find. So do it whichever way you fancy. This way it takes a little bit longer, but I think it looks a bit better. The next thing to do is I want to add all of the text bits that I need, so I can then remove this border and start getting some images on there. So again, with the free version, you are limited into what you can do. You can just add a heading and change the text, or you can use these examples. Each one with a pro is paid for. So let's edit this, and this one's going to be food, so we will say, so think of an engaging title. For speed's sake, I'm just going to call it food search, spelled correctly, and change the font color. And that's okay. Drag that close at the top. The other thing that we need to do is to have a list of words for the kids to find. So this is where fun things happen, and we'll start using the graphics. Good elements. I think we'll try a plate. I just want a round plate. Remember, we're looking for free ones. That's free. That will do. I'll just change the colour. So the free license from Canva, there are some caveats to how you use it. And we'll just click on this one. It's free. So information. You can't sell, redistribute, or take credit for unaltered media provided through Canva, but you can use it in commercial work. We are editing it by incorporating it into our scene, but you can edit it even more by just changing the colours. And I will add the text. I'm just going to use plain text, and I'll type the words in: pizza, cake, pie, fruit. I'll just shrink that down a smidge. Just mess about with the size until you get it how you like it. I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. Maybe have it there. Drag that along. It's all just trial and error. Group those two together. And that's it, that's all the text I need. So I'll remove these margins. And now we're going to make this page more fun by... So it's food related. We need to add images that are related to food, bearing in mind the limitations of free Canva. And I think that a table scene would be good. It's like a garden party sort of thing. So I'll see if there are any good tables. Not in the text. So I found one under dining table. I think that one will be a good start. I'll send it to the back. Now, because this is going to be a party scene, I did say garden party, but I think I'm going to change it to... Let's move that up a smidge. Change it to kind of maybe a restaurant. Yeah, a restaurant. And for that, just for easy's sake, we're going to use simple shapes. So this can be the floor, slash carpet. We'll have the carpet a nice dark blue again. Position it by sending it to the back. I'll have a big wall here again. You just mess about with the colours, position. That text colour just needs to change. Or maybe, actually, I've had an idea. Scratch all of what I've just done. Pull you out of the way for now. This is going to be a blackboard. Make that square big enough to cover. So this is going to be a blackboard with the lunch options on. But you can't have your lunch until you decipher the blackboard. Just change that to black. So I'm just going to go about making this as much like a blackboard as I can, so, you know, bear with. So that's the blackboard. I've changed the text to today's menu. That'll be the title of the puzzle. That's just a black square with a dark brown square around it to create the frame. And I try to choose a chalk-like font. So I went for Gagarin, which does the job. I'm just going to add a couple of plates to the table. Control C, Control V. Drag that across there. And maybe try and find a vase. That'll do. So this is an animation. It's free, but it will, once you export it, it becomes a still. I'll just move that table down to accommodate the vase. And that's it. Obviously, that should be okay text-wise for the margin, but you will lose a little bit of the bottom of the plate. It doesn't matter, because that doesn't look like a plate anyway. All this is all in the margin. I'll just make sure of that. Yeah, so the top is absolutely fine. And the side, it's close, but it's within the, you know, the allowed area. If you export this and it gets refused from Amazon for some sort of infringement, just come back into Canva, shrink it down, and it'll be fine. Shrink things away from the edges. So that's it. That was a simple example of a very simple word search for kids. You use this idea and this method, you could create other word searches, you know, around this sort of, you know, a centralized word search with images associated with the word search, which is of course associated with your niche. And we can duplicate the page, and instead of having to draw out the table and plot the sizes again, you can just copy the page and delete the bits you don't need and change the words on the text message, on the and change the words and letters on the word search. I'm going to show you a couple more examples that I've made using this technique. So here are another couple of simple word searches. This is a one for a house. These are all free shapes from the Elements tab, in particular this one. That one I just searched for path. And there it is there. And again, search for house, and that's just a circle for the sun. The words to find are in the sun. I think it's nice to try and hide the words in a part of the picture. Oh, sorry, not hide them, display them in a part of the picture. You can change all these fonts up here. So if you think that's too small, change the font size. And there's another one. Word search, nice pun. Simple sea scene, waves, sandy colour. And that is a circle with another circle around the outside, just to emulate a bubble. These fish are found just by typing in fish. Now I can't edit the colours on there, but I can on this one. So if I wanted to, and I was concerned about falling foul of the use policy, just go in there and change the colours and edit it that way. Again, a few bubbles. Just search for bubbles. If you put the time in, you can find free images. That looks similar to the one I've used, but I did find a free version. So you just put a bit of time in and you will find the elements you're looking for. If not, sign up for the free 30-day trial. It's worth it. So that is it for today's video. Making fun word searches for kids, although of course you can use this technique to make bigger word searches for adults. Obviously make it a bit harder than having 4 or 5 words. But you can make it on a bigger scale. And that was completely free. The font was free. The images, if you check the fair use, their policies on what you can and can't do, I think you'd agree that what we've done here is, and we've edited the images, we've altered them by making them part of a scene and changing the colours where possible. So that's all fine. So thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you are interested in how to make more free things for Canva, or more free things in Canva for KDP, please do look through the channel, because there are a couple of videos and I'll be adding a few more in the coming days. Also, if you haven't already, why not consider investing your profits from KDP into buying a desktop publisher? I cannot recommend Affinity Publisher highly enough. It's really cheap, especially compared to others on the market, and it's simple to use. Plus, I've got dozens of tutorials on the channel. Look through them, and it'll show you, what Affinity Publisher can do and how it can help kickstart your KDP, up to the next level. Because this was a bit of a ball ache, having to mess about getting all these images and messing about getting the table size correct. It's much more simple in Affinity. So thanks for watching. Please do subscribe, and I shall see you next time.
Yeah.